Strength is often misunderstood. People assume it must be loud, aggressive, or forceful to be real, but the truth is, the most powerful strength is silent. It does not scream for attention, nor does it beg for validation. It simply exists, steady, unshaken, and undeniable. It is the kind of strength that does not need to prove itself because its presence alone commands respect. And that is the strength of an empowered woman. Empowerment is not about taking shortcuts to influence. It is not about demanding recognition or forcing others to acknowledge your worth. True empowerment is earned. It is built through discipline, competence, and an unbreakable commitment to becoming someone of value. And in a world that often confuses external validation with real confidence, it is critical to understand that power does not come from being seen, it comes from being capable. A woman who cultivates her mind, strengthens her character, and builds herself into someone who can withstand adversity does not need to fight for a place at the table. She becomes the foundation that others rely on. Her wisdom, her resilience, her ability to endure hardship and come out stronger. These are the marks of true strength. And the world takes notice not because she demands it, but because she has become someone who cannot be ignored. So the question is not whether you are given power, the question is whether you are willing to build it. To sharpen yourself through challenge, to embrace responsibility instead of victimhood, and to set a standard so high that you become an example for others. Real empowerment is not granted by society, it is taken by those who refuse to be anything less than exceptional. Strength is not loud. It does not always announce itself. True strength, the kind that transforms lives and shapes the world, is often quiet, steady, and unwavering. It is the kind of strength that does not demand attention but earns respect, and for too long people have misunderstood what real empowerment means. It is not about shouting the loudest. It is not about demanding recognition. It is about becoming competent, resilient, and disciplined enough that the world has no choice but to take notice. The strongest individuals, those who truly change the course of history, are not the ones who are consumed by resentment or constantly seeking validation from others. They are the ones who take responsibility for their own lives, who build themselves up through effort and discipline, and who refuse to be defined by the limitations others try to place upon them. And this is especially true for women who seek to empower themselves in a world that often misunderstands strength. Power is not something that is simply handed to you. It is not given as a gift, nor can it be demanded without effort. True power is earned, and it comes from one fundamental principle: responsibility. The moment you take full ownership of your life, your choices, and your actions, you begin to unlock the kind of strength that cannot be taken away. Because power that comes from external validation or privilege is fragile, but power that is built through responsibility is unshakable. The first step toward real strength is to stop blaming others for where you are. It is easy to point fingers at circumstances, at people who have wronged you, or at a system that does not seem fair. But the harsh truth is that none of those excuses will change your reality. If you want a better life, if you want to become someone of value, then you must stop waiting for someone else to fix things for you. No one is coming to save you. And that is not a curse. It is the greatest gift you could ever receive. Because once you realize that your life is in your own hands, you understand that you have the power to shape it. Taking responsibility is difficult. It means acknowledging your own mistakes. It means admitting that you have flaws that need to be worked on, that your failures are not just the result of bad luck, but often of choices you made, choices that could have been better. But here's the thing. The moment you accept responsibility, you take control. If your problems are always someone else's fault, then you are powerless to change them. But if you own them, then you can fix them. That is where real strength begins. Many people resist responsibility because it comes with weight. It forces them to face the truth about themselves. But avoiding responsibility does not make life easier. It makes it harder. Because when you refuse to take charge of your own destiny, someone else will do it for you. You will be at the mercy of circumstances, of other people's decisions, of forces beyond your control. And there is no strength in that. True power means standing up and saying, "This is my life and I will take full control of it." Responsibility is not just about fixing mistakes. It is also about creating something better. It is about becoming the kind of person who can be relied on, who builds instead of destroys, who lifts others up rather than dragging them down. It is about understanding that every choice you make shapes the future, and that by taking responsibility, you are not only improving yourself, but also setting an example for others. So if you want real power, do not chase shortcuts. Do not wait for someone else to come along and give you what you desire. Look in the mirror and take full ownership of your strengths, your weaknesses, your successes, and your failures. Step up, take responsibility, because the moment you do, you stop being a victim of life and you become the one who shapes it. Seeking validation is a trap that keeps people weak. It makes them dependent on others' approval instead of their own ability. The world is full of people desperate to be noticed, craving to be liked, and doing whatever it takes to be accepted. But true strength, real success, and lasting respect are never built on validation. They are built on competence, the ability to actually do something of value, to be skilled, to be useful, to be someone who can handle responsibility and solve real problems. Competence is rare because it requires effort. It is far easier to chase applause than to develop the ability that deserves it. It is easier to post something online and wait for the approval of strangers than to dedicate years to mastering a craft. But the difference between someone who seeks validation and someone who builds competence is simple. One needs others to feel worthy, while the other carries their worth within themselves. One depends on the outside world for approval, while the other can stand on their own, whether praised or criticized. Building competence means facing failure. It means struggling, making mistakes, and being willing to endure discomfort to become truly good at something. It requires discipline when no one is watching, persistence when results are slow, and patience when recognition does not come right away. And that is why so few people reach true excellence, because they give up when they do not get immediate praise. But those who commit to competence, who focus on getting better instead of being liked, are the ones who become truly powerful. Validation is temporary. It fades as quickly as it comes. The people who cheer for you today might ignore you tomorrow. But competence is permanent. Once you build it, no one can take it from you. If you are skilled, if you are knowledgeable, if you have worked to develop real ability, then you do not need to beg for recognition. People will seek you out, because the world respects those who can deliver results, not those who simply demand attention. Comfort is seductive. It lulls people into a sense of security, making them believe that avoiding hardship is the key to a good life. But the pursuit of constant comfort does not lead to strength, it leads to stagnation. It weakens the mind, dulls ambition, and creates a fragile existence where the smallest challenge feels unbearable. The truth is, comfort is not what makes a person capable. Resilience is. The ability to endure, to push through difficulties, to stand firm when life gets hard. That is what creates real success and lasting fulfillment. Life is unpredictable. No one escapes suffering, and no amount of comfort can shield a person from pain forever. Those who prioritize comfort above all else become unprepared for the inevitable storms of life. They crumble under pressure, break when things do not go their way, and retreat into self-pity instead of facing their struggles head-on. But those who develop resilience, who embrace discomfort as part of growth, become the kind of people who can handle anything. They learn that pain is not the enemy, weakness is. And weakness is a choice made by those who refuse to push themselves beyond what is easy. Resilience is built in moments of struggle. It is forged in the decision to keep going when quitting seems easier. It is strengthened through every hardship, every failure, every moment of doubt that is met with persistence instead of surrender. And the more a person chooses to endure rather than escape, the stronger they become. This strength does not just help in times of crisis. It changes everything. It builds confidence because a resilient person knows they can handle whatever comes. It creates self-respect because nothing is more fulfilling than overcoming what once seemed impossible. And it inspires others because resilience is rare in a world obsessed with seeking the easiest path. Comfort is temporary. It might feel good in the moment, but it offers nothing of real value. It does not build character, it does not develop skill, and it does not prepare a person for the reality of life. Resilience, on the other hand, is permanent. It turns obstacles into stepping stones, failures into lessons, and struggles into strength. It transforms a person into someone who does not break under pressure but rises above it. So the choice is simple. Live a life of comfort and remain weak, or embrace the challenges that build resilience and become strong. Those who seek only ease will always be dependent on circumstances. But those who develop resilience will create their own path, no matter what stands in their way. Strength is not given, it is built. And it is built through resilience, not comfort. Strength is not just about endurance or power, it is about knowing where to draw the line. Boundaries are what separate those who control their lives from those who allow themselves to be controlled. Without boundaries, a person becomes a victim of circumstance, constantly pulled in different directions by the expectations and demands of others. But with clear boundaries, a person gains control over their time, energy, and self-respect. Strength is not about saying yes to everything. It is about knowing when to say no. Many people avoid setting boundaries because they fear rejection. They worry that if they stand their ground, they will disappoint others or lose relationships. But the truth is, a life without boundaries leads to exhaustion, resentment, and a deep sense of being lost. A person who allows others to dictate their actions, emotions, and priorities is not living their own life. They are merely reacting to the pressures around them. Strength comes from the ability to define what is acceptable, to recognize what is worth their time, and to refuse what drains them. Boundaries are not walls, they are foundations. They do not isolate a person, but protect them. They allow for deeper relationships, greater focus, and real self-respect. A person who sets boundaries does not push people away. They attract those who respect them. And in doing so, they create a life filled with purpose instead of chaos. Boundaries are what separate those who are in control from those who are constantly overwhelmed. It takes courage to set boundaries. It takes strength to stand up for oneself and refuse to be treated poorly. It is easier to stay silent, to avoid conflict, to give in to the demands of others. But that path leads to weakness. The strongest people are not the ones who please everyone. They are the ones who know their worth and refuse to settle for less. They do not let guilt or pressure define their choices. Instead, they stand firm in what they believe, knowing that their strength comes not from seeking approval, but from honoring their own needs. A life without boundaries is a life without control. It is a life dictated by the expectations of others rather than personal values and goals. Those who fail to set boundaries will always feel powerless, constantly chasing validation instead of building real strength. But those who define their limits, who are clear about what they will and will not accept, are the ones who gain true control over their lives. Strength is not about how much a person can endure. It is about knowing when to walk away, when to stand firm, and when to demand more. Boundaries define strength, and those who master them shape their own destiny. Real empowerment is not about tearing things down. It is about building something better. It is not found in resentment, destruction, or proving others wrong. It is found in growth, in strength, in the ability to create something meaningful despite obstacles. Many people confuse empowerment with rebellion, thinking that if they reject everything, criticize everything, or break everything apart, they are somehow gaining power. But true power is not in destruction, it is in mastery. It is in the ability to take control of oneself, to develop competence, to turn struggle into something valuable. A person who builds is stronger than a person who destroys. It is easy to criticize, easy to blame, easy to tear down what exists, but it takes wisdom to improve it. It takes discipline to create something lasting. It takes courage to step beyond anger and choose to grow instead of attack. Strength does not come from making enemies of the world. It comes from making oneself into something so capable that obstacles become irrelevant. Empowerment is not about demanding respect, it is about earning it through undeniable competence. The most powerful people are not the loudest, the most aggressive, or the most rebellious. They are the ones who have taken control of their own lives, who have refined their skills, who have built something meaningful. They do not waste time seeking revenge or validation. They focus on progress. They focus on building, whether it is a career, a family, a sense of self-respect, or a vision for the future. The act of creation is where true empowerment is found. The world does not owe anyone power. It does not hand it out freely to those who complain the loudest. Power is earned. It is built through perseverance, through discipline, through the willingness to improve rather than destroy. Those who choose to build become stronger every day. They become irreplaceable. They become forces of nature, capable of standing on their own, shaping their own lives, and making a real impact. Tearing things down is a temporary illusion of power. But in the end, it leaves nothing behind. Those who destroy are eventually left with nothing but emptiness. But those who build, those who create, who improve, who grow, become unstoppable. Real empowerment is not found in destruction. It is found in creation. It is found in resilience. And it is found in the decision to rise above bitterness and build something that truly matters.